Gotham Season 2, Episode 16, Prisoners. Now, I gotta say, I really enjoyed this episode. It was a really good episode, but this is also, just an absolutely depressing episode as well. I mean, we have Jim's storyline, which probably one of the saddest things that could possibly happen is we find out that Lee had complications and actually lost the baby. So she's gone, somewhere down south. So Jim finds out after, I would assume it's been about a week in prison. They have a great opening for this episode as well, just the passing of time, and him kind of his simple time is what we get to see pass quickly, where he's actually it's not solitary confinement, but I don't know exactly what they call the wing, but he's basically in protective custody, as the guy mentions, and we kind of see that rapidly go by. That's already crap to him, and then he gets put into general population, and then Bullet goes to see him. He finds out that he's lost a child. He befriends this young man, Puck, in prison, and the way they did it, where he's like, I'm not gonna die in prison and stuff. I was like, he's toast. Like I was like, he's toast, and then they completely destroy him after the guy comes back after being in solitary confinement or being in the hole. And of course, that's the way that they do it. It's to the warden of the prison, who's clearly corrupt and is friends with ex-commissioner Loeb, which is always really bad. So of course, as soon as that was brought up, it was like, this is going to be a disaster, for Jim. And that was that was even before all that stuff happened. But they do everything that they can to just make things worse for him, and they beat him up. They beat Puck up really, really bad during that scene. They're kicking him, and the one guy was just slamming his face into the ground, so he was really messed up. And they do everything, and Jim ends up escaping and stuff. And I'm like, oh, he goes back and he gets Puck out and he makes it. And I was like, all right, he actually lived, but sadly he does end up dying at the end of this episode because he's just too messed up. And he doesn't. It was subtle. It was subtle foreshadowing that he would die, but of course he doesn't actually end up dying in prison. But it was still depressing because it was like he actually made it, and I was like, all right, this actually ended at least somewhat happier than I thought it would. And then of course he's in the car and he's not moving. I was like, that is super sad. It's just like everything in this episode just seems super sad, and we have that's Jim's storyline, and then just all the stuff he's dealing with in prison, and then the other half is Penguin and him gaining this new family, and these people just wanting everything from his father and wanting to get rid of him and kill him off because the mother, I'm assuming her plan was to have him die early on anyway, and that's why she was switching out his pills with the peppermint mint. And they have this plan. Is like, all right, let's turn Penguin against his father and make it simple. We get rid of his dad, and they try to get rid of Penguin at first, and of course it's like just a little bit too late, and his dad's like, everything's fine. He did have a weird reaction though, because of course at first it was gonna be like, oh well, he told me this, and I told him everything that happened before our lives together is we have a clean slate. We don't have to worry about that. But after he saw the newspaper and stuff, he's like, oh, you didn't tell me you were famous and stuff, and he was like happy about it. And I guess it's because of what we find out at the end, where he's like, my father didn't really just die because he was sick. It was more of a mental thing, and there's just this sort of issue, this darkness, that falls in their family line, and he doesn't want Penguin to fall into that, which I think we're going to be seeing. I don't know, based on the promo, it was just him kind of laughing, but after this episode, I think he's going to figure out what happened. Like, they actually killed his dad, and he is going to eviscerate those people. Like, they aren't getting anything. Like, I don't care what they say, all three of those people are dead, and he's going to be the last living relative, period, because they are done for. Once he figures that crap out, which may or may not be in the next episode, all three of them are dying, and that's just how that's going to work. He's going to snap. He already had the dreams in this episode where he woke up, and it's kind of the mental, build up sort of crazy torture that Hugo Strange put him through. That's clearly already breaking down in his subconscious, and that's why he woke up from the nightmare. And then that's going to break away. It's going to fall off, and he's going to go back to who he was and who he wants to be. And when he realizes, and he's not in this weird happy days, everything's good, he's going to know something weird, was up with that, and he's going to figure out what they did to his dad. and they killed off his last living family. And of course, they did it during the perfect time. And I knew how it was gonna play out because he pours the drink and stuff. And it's like his dad's gonna take the drink because it's like, well, he knows the hole is getting bigger and he knows he's actually gonna die. So he's gonna take the drink, and I knew that would happen. And of course, that's how it played out. And it was just before, after he says, "I want you to have all of it," and which I thought was interesting. I didn't think he'd give his son everything. I figured he'd give him a ton of stuff because it is his, only blood relative. But he's like, "I want you to have all of it and stuff because it's like I want you to keep things the way that they were, keep it as a staple of Gotham history and our history." And of course, sadly he does pass away. So we'll see how that plays out in the next episode. But once Penguin figures it out, I don't think we're gonna be seeing any crazy nightmares waking him up. He's gonna just break free, and all three of them are dead because they're gonna. I'm curious how it's gonna play out because they clearly aren't doing it where they're trying to pin it on Penguin because they know that that wasn't gonna. I guess they knew that wouldn't work to begin with, but and I think that was actually a really good twist on it because it's like they're playing kind of stupid and it's like they were trying to kill him off, but it flipped on him and they killed the guy they actually wanted alive. But now that things have kind of gone this way, I'm curious to see exactly what was in Penguin's father's will. I can't remember his name. I'm sure they said it, but there's just like a lot of crazy stuff happened in this episode. I wasn't even paying attention to anybody's names. I don't remember the wife's name or her children's name, anything like that. I was just like, this episode. All I could think of was how depressing some of the stuff was in this episode. That's all I kept thinking about for like a straight hour. Like, this is just a sad episode. Like a dead baby, and then he's got Jim's got corrupt warden on his case, which as soon as I saw the guy, the first thing I thought of was the Arkham games, but um, Warden Quincy Sharp is who's the warden of Arkham Asylum, so I was like, that can't be him. But it definitely seemed like him. It was like, I mean, he looks totally different. He's a bald guy, but he's a tall, skinny bald guy instead of a shorter, fatter bald guy. But it was just like, man, he's clearly super corrupt. Um, he's friends with ex Commissioner Loeb, so that's never a good sign for Jim, like whatsoever. Especially with their last interaction, because that was, or I guess not their last interaction, but Penguin's last interaction, which was directly connected to helping out Jim become the new commissioner. So that's never a good sign if he's involved. Is going to be an issue for Jim. But it was just really crazy. Lots of death in this episode. Lots of loss for both characters, and I think Penguin's going to create his own loss. Come next episode, or maybe the episode afterwards. But I'm really looking forward to what they do. I couldn't believe like these last two episodes have been really, really great. I mean, they had a great, we got to really see Enigma as the Riddler in the last episode, which was really good, and that led to just a crazy ending where, poof, Jim's in prison. I never would have seen that coming during the episode. And then this episode, he actually breaks out of prison, so, well, he had the fake death thing, but then, of course, when he went back for Puck, the warden busted him, so they know he's alive and he just flat out escaped from prison. But that was a great scene too when he was about to get killed, and then the other guy tackles him. And at first, I thought it was like, oh, he's just mad, and so he got to him first, and he was beating him up. And then they show him with the knife and stuff. It's like, oh, he's gonna try to stab him. And as soon as he stabbed him, I'm like, they can't do this because he's not gonna, they'd be killing Jim if he got stabbed like that, in the stomach. And then he's like, you're dying, and Jim's like confused. I'm like, oh crap, this has to be Bullock. Like, it has to be. That was the only thing I could think of. And of course, we got to see Falcone come back, which was crazy. I was not expecting that. So the two of them working together get Jim out. They get Puck out. Like I said, unfortunately, still passes away. But Jim decides, like, I want to find Lee. But in order to do that, I have to clear my name. And in order to find out who really killed, that officer, I have to stay here in Gotham. So I just can't wait to see what they do in this next episode. The promo looks really freaking cool. Like, Hugo Strange is coming back. Barbara, apparently, in like one clip of that, it looked like she was at the front gate. Like, she gets kind of her ticket to go free. So I'm hoping that's what happens, just because I would love for her to, kind of rejoin the cast again. Because after they made her just full on insane, she's been way cooler. So I'm excited for her to get out. So more Hugo Strange, Barbara possibly getting released. They had clips of Nigma digging up someone. I'm not sure who he's digging up. I don't know if that's him digging up Miss Kringle, which I'm assuming it is. That's the only person we've seen him bury before. So I assume he's going to be digging up that grave that he dug for her. But he also seems to get busted because he pulls a gun. They have another scene where he's actually shooting the gun. There's the story of what's happening when Bruce and Selena shows up again. They have a crazy ending scene for the promo as well, where it looks like he's jumping, like doing some Spider-Man leap across an entire block. But I'm gonna hope that they don't plan on making that an actual thing, and it's like I'm hoping like a dream or something. But I'm like, I really hope they don't plan on doing something as crazy as Bruce Wayne, no matter what age or what he's wearing. Maybe if he's wearing like one of his powered up suits, sure he could do a crazy leap. But I'm really hoping that they aren't doing that, where it's like young Bruce Wayne leaps from a building while he's running with the bag full of money, and he leaps an entire block. So I'm assuming that's some sort of different sequence. They probably just edited it together that way to make it seem like it's one scene, and I don't know if that helps because a bunch of people are going to freak out like that's going to be super stupid. But I'm assuming it's just editing to, kind of mess with our heads. So we'll have to wait and see. I really hope that's not the case. And I'm assuming, despite the silliness of the show, it's not just crazy where it's like super strength, whatever. It gets really cheesy, but it doesn't get like that insane. If someone has super strength or something, it's a character that actually has it from the comics, or maybe someone they created for the show, but it's not just like, Bruce gained super strength. But I'm looking forward to this next one. Really fun episode. Like I said, it was a great episode, but it's just so depressing. It was like it just started off, and it was like, all right, beginning fairly simple. It's Jim in prison. It was already a good start. Like I said, I really enjoyed that opening scene, and then he gets transferred and stuff in his general population, and it's like he needs to worry, and things are just really crazy, and Bullock's trying to figure out how to save his friend. And then the other stuff with Penguin, which just starts off fairly normal, which we knew that was going to be a part of it as well. Excuse me, the sort of weird, underhandedness of this, Penguin's non-blood relative family members, his new family. So we knew that would be a part of it from the promo. That was actually very clear, and that was definitely what happened. But the stuff with the prison thing, I think, was much deeper than they made it seem in the promo. It was like, oh, he just has to fight to survive. And then it became way more emotional than that, once the episode kept going on. So, really enjoyed it. Insanely depressing. I can't believe that that's how they did that, where they actually lost a child. So that's, of course, like I said, that's the saddest thing that happened. And I'm just surprised that they went that route. It really sucks because I would have really loved to have seen how that would have played out for the show. But that's always one of those things that they can do in a TV show where someone loses a baby, and whether you're in that moment or not, just hearing that news because it's a baby, someone who hasn't even been born. It's one of those things that's visceral enough whether you experience it in the shot or it's just randomly said as exposition, and it works every time because it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, I feel like it just works every time. So it sucks that it happened, but it definitely had an impactful moment. For me, at least, it definitely had an impactful moment. Like, wow, I couldn't believe that they did that. And then, Jim faces a loss at the end, and this guy that he, didn't want to befriend because he knew that he'd get him killed, and that's exactly how that played out. So, he faces that at the end as well. And then, of course, like I said, Penguin losing his father at the end. And who knows how the family's going to try to, maybe if they'll try to push him out or not. But I don't think they will, especially, like, despite him being in their way and them trying to kill him. I think what the daughter said about her thinking that he's actually just simple, I think that might play a factor now that the father's gone. They won't try to just push him out because I think that's going to end up being in public record at this point. Although they show the funeral scene and there's really nobody there. It's like the family members, Penguin is at the coffin, and it looked like there was someone like in the background on the right side of the screen, but not really a lot of people there. And they clearly show in this episode that they completely stay out of the public eye. Like they had no idea who Penguin was until the son went to do research. The son's very stupid, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Like, he was really funny in this because they had like some moments like, how do you kill a rat? And he's like, rat traps and stuff. It was like, wow, he's not the brightest. Like, he's got money, but clearly nothing else. He did some sort of research that's made him seem really smart, and then every time he opened his mouth outside of that scene, it was like, he's really not that bright. He's kind of stupid. So that, I just want to throw that out there. It's just kind of funny, like how they have the scheming mother, the daughter, who's also, they were both kind of on the same level, and then there's him, and he's just like not as smart, not so smart. But I really enjoyed this episode. I'm very excited to see where they take things. I really think he's gonna just destroy that family. I don't think it might not be the next episode, but before this season is over, the three of them are gonna die by his hand. Like, he's gonna kill them. I just, like, that just has to be how it works out, and that's how he goes back to, being normal Penguin. And plus, that's how he, I mentioned that's how he gets all his money before. Which, like I said, I totally forgot about, like, that he does have family money, and this is where all that comes in. And he's got a little bit of competition to get rid of, and I'm pretty sure he will once the, old school version of him kicks back into play, and it's like, no, this was weird. This was weird. They wanted, because at this point he's still super happy. As soon as he goes back to his old self, it'll be easy to be like, the daughter came to me and was trying to seduce me and wanted me to, wanted us to team up to kill my dad. And look at that. He's been poisoned. Really weird, random, heart condition, but I'm assuming the doctor is going to come in and be like, that was really weird. He basically had acid in his system. So once he snaps out of it, they're dead. So that's going to happen at some point. It might be, a couple episodes from now. But really looking forward to this next one. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And, of course, with the way they ended things for Jim, he's not only been sent to prison, but he's escaped prison. They know he's alive. So it's not like, oh, he died and that's it and he can, hide in the system. He's, he faked the death, but he goes back for puck. So he's been busted. He's on the run, but hiding, within the city. I want to know what you guys think will come in that. And, of course, what you guys think is going to happen with Penguin. Mostly, how long do you think it'll take before Penguin, like, wipes out the rest of his family? Because I think we might only have to wait 2 more episodes, if that. I don't know if the promo is really a good indication because it's a promo, so they always edit stuff really weird, like the leaping across the building thing. So, never really know if that scene of him laughing was another dream sequence where it's, the torture therapy from Strange kind of breaking down a little bit, or if he finds out in the next episode and he full on, goes back to his old self. But I think we only have to wait like 2 more episodes with that. And as far as with Jim finding out who, set him up, I don't even really know what to expect from that, honestly, because they could get rid of Nigma, and they could kind of do that early on and, make him the Riddler and then send him to Arkham Asylum or something. But I just feel like they won't do that. I feel like something's going to happen. Either Enigma's going to blame someone else, or, he'll make a new trail, or Jim will just be on the run for quite a while. But I think he will solve it, and I think, at least at this point, the only logical thing I can come up with is that Enigma will make a new trail, and it'll lead to somebody else that, is totally innocent. But if Jim follows it, it'll clear him, but then it'll bust someone else who's, maybe another criminal. That'll probably be the easiest way to do it, is just make a trail and lead it to another, lead it to just a known criminal. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, though, definitely want to know where you guys think they're going to be taking Jim's storyline now that he's an escapee hiding within Gotham trying to clear his name when, it's someone very close to him that set him up. And, of course, what you guys think is going to happen with Penguin and how long it's going to take before he wipes out the rest of his family. So please, comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.